Alright guys, so this is my finishing video to show you how my little Princeton amp turned out. Sorry I didn't get to do as much posting in between the stages as I hoped. Just life happens, I guess. But anyway, as you see, it's back to its blackface originality. This is the way it's supposed to have looked. You see from the grill cloth, I found pretty close reproduction, closest I guess as they make today to the original. Try to get some the actual original from my guys online, but I just wanted so much for it. I just couldn't justify it. The price that they were wanting for original grill cloth. And really the only difference that I notice from this cloth and the original is these are like little rectangles, where the original cloth is pretty much little squares. And I have, you know, several original blackface amps, and that's the only difference that I can tell between this cloth and the other. As far as like the thread pattern, you know, it's all the same, but it's just the size of these little squares is the only thing different. But anyway, from far off you can't tell. It looks legit. But everything turned out real well. Okay, clean the knobs up, the faceplate. So the Princeton. And I sent the toilets off to Mojo Tone, and they recovered it for me. Did a great job. They it's all legit. They shipped it back quickly. It's a quick turnaround, easy to work with. They're great communication. So I would highly recommend Mojo Tone if you ever need like a cabinet recovered and don't really want to deal with it yourself. I think they did a great job. As you see, I was able to save all the original hardware. You remember it was gold, but got some paint remover and that stuff removed it off, and then I just polished it up with some, you know, metal polish, and it turned out really good. I mean, it looks like I've almost replaced all the hardware. It's so clean, and you know, it looks really nice. So that's that. Here are the back panels. Same thing. Original screws, just polished them up. Like I say, Mojo Tone, you know, recovered the original back panels. Did a great job. Here's the bottom. So these are the original panels. Looks really nice. So all in all, I did a great job. Went ahead and took the back off to show you. And ended up ditching that Eminence, that crate speaker. It was actually an Eminence speaker. Best I could tell is the same thing as like a Raging Cajun, the one that came out of it. The only thing about it was a 16 ohm. It sounded great, but it's a 16 ohm speaker. And I know the output transformer of these Princeton amps, they like to see an 8 ohm. So I found a guy who had this Weber 10F150T, pretty close to, I guess, the old Jensens that came with these back in the day. Maybe I've looked and I shopped around try to find an original Oxford, but they're just so rare, and the people who have them are not wanting to get rid of them, and if they do, they want an arm and a leg for them. So I just went with this Weber. It sounds great. That crate speaker is actually, I've got it up for sale on Reverb and on a couple other sites. No takers yet. This is a great little speaker. I don't know. I think just because it has that crate label on it, people don't like it. But I mean, it's pretty much the same thing as the Eminence Raging Cajun, and you can get it for a heck of a deal on Reverb right now if you seek it out. But this Weber sounds great. Still needs to be broken in. But man, it's playing. Sounds nice. No issues with it. You see, I was able to save the original harness, and that metal cap polished up really nice. I just used some steel wool and some metal polish, and it worked out great. Then you know, polished all the jacks up, cleaned everything up. You see, I've dated it 64, which everything inside, I'm not taking the inside out. Y'all already seen it in the other videos, and I'll post some pictures of it. But I didn't touch anything inside. I left everything as it was. The only thing that had been replaced, the guy had already done the 3-prong cord swap and wired it up the same way I would have, and so everything in there works great. Like I say, it's original glass. These are all old GE tubes, old GE 5AAR GZ34 and 6v6s. This one's actually the black plate. So, and then this one's the gray. But they match closely, and this amp is dead quiet when it's sitting idle. Even when you're plugged in, sounds great. There's no hum, no crackle, no nothing. So, you know, I didn't change any of the components inside. And same thing with here. 2 original new old stock GE 12AX7s. And even the little covers, you know, I took some fine steel wool and then polished them up real nice, man. They're shining, they look great. They look like I've replaced them, but they're the originals. And if you remember, this was old, you know, like painted brown. I was able to get some paint stripper and stripped it back down to the original wood. Looks great. You know, before I had it recovered, I had to strip off that old varnish, and it came off. And here's the original tube stamp chart, whatever you want to call it. That was one thing about it. When I went to clean this up, this thing was so old, it was flaking off like paper mache. So I peeled it off best way I could with a razor blade, and then I don't know if you can't tell really, but I laminated it. I took the pieces and I glued them to a piece of paper, and I ran it through the laminator just so I could hold on to the original tube chart there. Like some of these pieces I found them in the bottom of the amp as I was working on them, and I just kind of pieced them together best I could and kind of glued it back together. And like I say, I laminated it, so it's good there for the life of the amp, I guess. Someone may frown upon it, but like I say, this amp was being redone anyway, so I think it looks great. You can't tell unless you just get in there and stare at it. But all in all, it looks good. Turned out really nice. And if you guys remember the old gold hardware, and this was, you know, stripped down to the original wood and shellacked, and so man, it's cleaned up nice, back to its original the way it's supposed to. And like I say, everything about this amp is original, I guess, with the exception of the speaker has been replaced. The Tolex has been redone, and of course the grill cloth was replaced. So if y'all remember, it was like that old nasty dirty brown fabric, and man, the tacks, you wouldn't believe the tacks that I had to pull out to get all that off. I must have had 1,000 tacks at the end of that. But the baffle's original. I mean, everything else is original. Those are the only 3 things: the grill cloth, the speaker, and the Tolex was replaced, and all else is, you know, original to the amp. Turned out great. Sounds great. And I'll post a video shortly, let you listen to it. And so for all you guys who are interested, this will be up on Reverb for sale soon, and be a chance to get a Pre-CBS Princeton original trannies, all original components inside. For the opportunity to get it at a great deal, a lot cheaper than you'll probably see any other amp from this age listed on Reverb or any other site. So keep an eye out for it, and if you got any questions, hit me up on YouTube or on Reverb there. And appreciate you guys watching, checking me out, and sorry it took so long. A lot's happened in the past 6 months, so but I'll try to find another one and do it all over again. Appreciate it, guys. See ya.